What's happening, guys? Gemma here and back again for another video, and today I want to talk to you guys about this beautiful game right here. If I can kind of edit it in nice and lush. SpiderMan on the PS4. I've got a lot to say about it as I streamed it over the weekend for the first time last Sunday and managed to box off a near 3.5 hours, so I'm kind of early stages in, and I need to admit something shocking before we go into this. I approached this game and said to myself, Gemma, avoid it. There is nothing revolutionary about this game. SpiderMan will not blow you away, girl. Don't even waste your hard-earned cash. And then I bought it, and then I streamed it, and I shared my organic expressions with you guys, and I must say, I'm very, very impressed. Now I just want to kind of put the brakes on at the word impressed and actually rewind about, go 8 years to the PlayStation 3 and to a game called Infamous. Infamous, for those of you that aren't aware, is about a game with a protagonist called Cole, and you're in a city and you can generate good karma, bad karma. You can kind of separate people that are committing crime. That's a really poor you know, iteration of what Infamous is, but it's a really, really good game, and I absolutely loved it, and I just buzzed off that game and played it to death, completed it twice with you know, good karma, bad karma kind of stories, and I really enjoyed it, and I bought into the series as I bought the second game, and then I bought Infamous Second Son on the PlayStation. Now, to me, Spider-Man, there was elements of Spider-Man that mimicked what I really loved about Infamous. And I think for me it was the speed at which you're kind of gliding through a city, in Spider-Man's case, Manhattan, gliding through a city, you know, that you feel so seamless and so kind of like aesthetically pleasing. It kind of took me back 8 years to how addicted I was and how into Infamous I felt. So that's the first point that I want to make. I didn't expect to kind of feel that. I was kind of going into it with very low expectations, and then the reviews were really good, and I'm like, yeah, you need to stop being so naive and you need to buy into this. So I did. Now, a lot of people out there have already got it, but if you're one of those people that is on the fence and don't want to be getting Spider-Man, listen up, okay? Because Spider-Man is worth every single penny. It's worth every single penny. There's so many quirky little Easter eggs. Like, I was hitting towards the end of my stream, and like there's this little cameo from Stan Lee, and it's a really nice touch. I've just met MJ. You meet MJ without spoiling it. Depending on how you play, you meet MJ a good maybe 3 hours into the game. The combat feels really, really nice. So let's talk about the combat. Now, I was reading some comments on the live stream, and my good friend Merlin said it sounds like you're button mashing, and I can completely understand that when you're playing that game, when you're playing Spider-Man, it does kind of feel as though you're just mindlessly button mashing. But you're actually not. There seems to be quite a lot of kind of forethought that goes into the combat. For example, you've got your R1 web shoot, and you can have different levels of, you know, you can fire your web really, really fast. You can fire a web that pins, like it's called an impact web, pin people onto a surface, which pretty much KOs them completely. So you've got that. You have to move fast. You've got different combos by pressing square. You can then choose to kind of come out the combat, swing around for a little bit, come back in when you've kind of gathered your thoughts, so that it changes the pace and the tempo of combat. It is not just button mashing, there is a lot to it. And I feel for me that as a gamer, as a player, as a streamer, that was a really rewarding part of the combat. It was having to think really, really fast, therefore being completely immersed in what you were doing. Changing up your style as well. Like, there was this one bit in the early stages, and I was just using a lot of webs, like loads of webs, and then going in for the kills, and I was tending to operate at ground level. But then I started to kind of go up high, swing around the room a little bit, and then come back in. And I kind of like my play style, my combat style evolved, and I just freaking loved that. Now, we've kind of heard comparisons of the combat being very similar to the Batman games, in that you're like a little pinball. If Spider-Man was the pinball and you just bounce around the enemies like you would, like a pinball machine would bounce around, the ball would bounce around the machine. And it's just really, really fast, but I think for me, there's way more strategy involved in Spider-Man. Batman, I could just button mash. I could close my eyes and I could button mash and I would have the same, you know, end result. Whereas Spider-Man, no. no. You know, you need to be a little bit more strategic. So, wicked start. If you're a combat fan, you're gonna love Spider-Man. If you don't have a PlayStation, personally for me, I think with the amount of phenomenal exclusives we've had on the PlayStation 4 this year, this game is definitely worth buying a PlayStation 4 for. Story-wise, there's loads to do. You've got your main campaign, you've got other things to do within the city as well, and every time you do them you collect tokens. Those tokens can then be used to kind of change the upgrades on your suit. You can upgrade your moves as well, so that evolves combat even more, and I'm really enjoying it. What I'm trying to do is balance doing the main quest between going through the various sections of Manhattan by collecting all of Peter Parker's bags, doing all the landmark photography. You know, there's lots of different things you can do, but it doesn't over encumber you. You don't feel kind of too, like there's too much. There's just the right amount of things to do, and I was worried actually. I'm thinking, you know what, we're probably gonna have there's gonna be too much to do, way too much crap to see, way too many little side faffy missions, but there isn't. It's a nice steady drip feeding, and I love, like, you know, there's little things like photo mode. You can turn it around, you can do selfies, you can, you know, I've seen so many cool photos, you know, because obviously Peter Parker is a budding journalist slash photographer, so they've incorporated that in really, really nicely. So in terms of the city, there's loads to do, but it doesn't feel like there's too much to do where you start to become confused. Now let's talk about the man himself, Peter Parker, otherwise known as Spider-Man. We know that there are various different suits to get. Now you start off and your suit's a little bit battered, it's a little bit tattered, but over time, you know, you can start to kind of get different upgrades, different suits, and I love that. I absolutely love that. The suits look so damn nice. And every now and again, obviously the story naturally evolves and you'll kind of come out your suit and you'll be Peter Parker and you'll be doing little tasks around the laboratory. And at the minute where I am in the game, I would say it's about 80-20. 80% as Spider-Man and 20% of the time as Peter Parker, you know, just maybe having a coffee with Mary Jane, or, you know, being in the laboratory fixing something. And I think that seems like, you know, at the minute it's a fair balance. Yes, at times you can step back as Peter Parker and things can be a little bit slow compared to obviously being in a suit and flying through Manhattan, you know, building to building, wall to wall. It can seem a little bit grounded, literally, and a little bit too slow when you're Peter Parker, but the minute you're back firing the webs from wall to wall, it just feels so damn good. And they've done a phenomenal job of the lighting. You know, you can be flying through, you know, Manhattan, getting right up into the sky, and the sun just catches you, and the catch lights look really nice, and the colour palette looks absolutely gorgeous. I cannot recommend this game enough. I haven't been this hyped. I mean, I got, like, when I was talking about Octopath Traveler on the Switch, I was really into it, and I feel just as into it, if not more, because I cannot wait to stream it again. I will be streaming an entire playthrough, so if you don't watch my streams, that needs to change. You need to come on and just spend, you know, 5 minutes on stream and check it out live for yourself. Now, have you played it, guys? Let me know in the comment section below. For those of you that were in stream with me over the weekend, you seemed to enjoy it, and I can't thank you guys enough for taking part in it. It's a fucking fantastic game. Potentially could see it getting a little bit monotonous at times, but for me, I would just kind of turn the PlayStation off, give it a couple of hours and go back into it. I think any game can be quite monotonous if you're binging it for quite some time, so ultimately it depends what your playstyle is, but so far, so good, no monotony, looks gorgeous. Yes, it can be a little bit slow in the Peter Parker elements over the actual Spider-Man elements, but that needs to happen, and that could also be a positive as well as a negative. So, guys, if you are new here, make sure you thumb that subscribe button, make sure you hit that like button, And if you want to support my shitty channel even further, then share the video. I really appreciate it, guys. I can't thank you guys enough. And if you haven't got SpiderMan, I want you to go and get it right now. Order it online, go down to the game, get it from your local retro game store. You have to get it. And if you're an Xbox fan, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. We always know that PlayStation 4 has better exclusives, and in fact go and check out this video here whereby I talk about why exclusives apparently don't matter. Go and check it out, I will link it in the cards, but for now guys, I will be back with another video soon. We've got some Tomb Raider streams coming, we're going to resume some SpiderMan. Have a great one, see you soon.